Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be writing our own set of instructions for how to mummify a body, or how to make a mummy. Now, we looked at how to make a mummy last week, especially in our read text, where we found out all this information. This week we've looked at the features of instructions and we've planned our instructions too. So today we should be ready to write our instructions out. Should we take a look? Let's go. Right, so before we start writing our instructions, I thought we'd have a quick recap on the features of instructions and see kind of a little checklist, I suppose, of the things that we need to include in our instructions today. So let's take a look here. We have the title, a statement of what is going to be achieved, so kind of like a description, I suppose. An equipment list of all the things you're going to need, time connectives, so for example, first, next, then, or after. Chronological order, this is the order that it happens in. Bossy verbs, so these are our instructional verbs which tell you to perform a certain action, such as make or spread. Numbered points, and illustrations and pictures. Now, not all instructions have illustrations or pictures, but today my instructions will. Now, we're writing our instructions on how to mummify a body. We did look at this last week, so you should have some knowledge on what happens in the process. However, if you're feeling a little bit stuck, I'm going to pop some links in the description box below. It might be an idea to take a look at them and to revise the process before you write your instructions. Right, apart from that, let's get started with writing our instructions. So the first thing we need, of course, is a title to our instructions. So for my title, I'm going to put How to Mummify a Body. What could you put for your title? I wonder if you can make it sound exciting. Next, we're going to write our description or statement of what is going to be achieved. So I'm going to write, here are the step-by-step instructions on how to mummify a body. This process was used by the Egyptians. This gives people a brief overview on what they're going to achieve when following your instructions. Now for the equipment list. So everything we are going to need when mummifying a body. Knives and hooks, canopic jars, stuffing, so sawdust and linen, natron, which is a type of salt, linen, a shroud, which is some sort of cloth, and lastly, a sarcophagus, of course. Right, now we're on to actually writing our instructions. So remember, we need to use numbered steps. So I'm going to pop number 1. And then I'm going to write my first instruction, which is going to be, first, wash the body thoroughly with clean, warm water. Now, if we take a look at my first step, I've written the time connective in red. My bossy verb is wash. Now that tells me the action to perform. And also, I've used thoroughly, an adverb, to give it a little bit more description on how I want the person to perform the action. So when writing your instructions, try to include these 3 things. Now to complete my first step, I'm going to finish with a little illustration or picture of what's happening. Now I'm going to move on to step number 2. So I need to write number 2, and I'm going to start with a time connective, next. Next, carefully remove all of the organs using knives and hooks. Put these in canopic jars. Can you spot my adverb and bossy verbs? Carefully is my adverb, and remove and put are my bossy verbs in that step. Now for my illustration. Now moving on to step number 3. I'm going to start with the time connective then. Then, stuff the body with sawdust and linen so it keeps its shape. Can you spot my bossy verb in this step? Next up, my illustration. Ta-da! Now, I don't have enough space on my whiteboard, so I'm going to rub it out and then we can continue our instructions. Let's go. So, step number 4, I'm going to start with the time connective after that. After that, gently place the body in a large pit of natron to dry it out. Now can you remember what natron is? Now for my illustration. Perfect. Now moving on to step number 5. Can you think of another time connective we could use? I'm going to start with then. Then, wait patiently for 40 to 50 days until the moisture leaves the body. Oh boy, it takes a long time to make a mummy, right? Now on to our 6th step. I'm going to begin with the time connective next. Next, carefully wrap the body with layers of linen. Can you spot my adverb and my bossy verb in that step? I'm going to add my illustration, and now I'm going to clear my board so I can continue to write my instructions. Now I'm going to move on to step number 7. I'm going to start with the time connective next. Next, cover the mummy in a material called a shroud. But I've just noticed I've already used the time connective next. Make sure you vary your time connectives. Otherwise, if you're using the same ones all the time, it might get a bit boring. Next up, I need to draw my illustration. Now onto my last instruction step. I'm going to start with the time connective finally. Finally, place the mummy in the sarcophagus carefully. Next, I'm going to draw my illustration. Fun fact, a sarcophagus is a stone coffin that was usually decorated really nicely. This is because it used to hold leaders and wealthy residents of ancient Egypt. And there you have it. You have written your own instructions on how to mummify a body. Great job! Well done at writing your set of instructions today. Just double check and make sure that your instructions are clear. Also, have you used all of the features of instructions? Anyway, great job today. You're doing such an amazing job with your learning at home. Until next time, see you later. Bye.